Today we're going to be talking about another business that has scaled the 100-year mark. Interesting to note is very few companies scaled the first, second, or third year, let alone a decade or half a century. So in 2008, there was a published study, I said this so many times now, that showed that a lot of companies, about 5,000 or under 5,000 companies, were over 200 years old. Although a lot of these are situated in Japan, there are quite a few of them across the globe. Now today we're looking into another bank. So this is in the financial industry sector. And it's just curious to see how these banks have scaled so many decades, right? So today we're looking at Barclays Bank. My name is Ibuko Onshoba. I'm a lawyer and I'm a corporate governance expert. I look into those topics as a way to sort of bring one information to light or light to these companies to say you might see them, you might know the brand, but you might not know how long they've been. And also to just help companies see how other companies have done it and maybe how they can do it as well. So going back to Barclays, this company can trace its history back to 1690. We had two founders, John Freemy and Good, and both of them at the time ran a simple operation. By 1973, they had a son-in-law who joined as a partner, and of course, that's where the name Barclays sort of came in from. Fast forward to 1896, and the company merged a few banks together and became the bank that we know today, or at least a first start of how we know the bank today. Over the years, the company has played in financial services sector. During World War II, of course, there are positives and negative information about the bank. So the bank helped the troops back their money. It helped provide services, at the time, and financing. But there are also questions about how Holocaust survivors and victims' assets were treated. There also talks about how the Paris branch handled itself during that time. You can't last so long without going through a few crises here and there. Fast forward to 2008, everybody knows what happened. I don't need to repeat this. Everybody was going through it. And of course, Barclays was not left out. And so again, starting as a bank that merged a few banks together, they also, took that route. The bank has to date withstood itself, although it has quite a number of scandals here and there that I'll touch. It's important to note that, of course, this is a publicly listed company on the London Stock Exchange, also listing on the New York Stock Exchange. It has a market capitalization of about $63 billion. So that we're talking about quite a lot of money. In fact, there was an article in 2011 that said it was such a big bank that the financial structure globally, it would impact it if anything happened to the bank. So this is quite a titan of industry, as you've called them. Currently, its board has a lot of finance bros. I actually haven't seen a board so locked in, 10 independent directors, 3 executive directors, and all of your finance bros. That's so interesting to me. Its chairman is Nigel Higgins, and it has quite a few players. We have someone from the public sector who's Mary Francis, and she worked with the H&M Treasury. She worked in the PM's office. They have so many directors, but all of them have a finance background. Their CEO is CS Venkatashan. Again, forgive me when I pronounce Asian names. It's just to mention a few of the board of directors. But again, we're looking at how they started. Most companies don't start out in the capacity that they grow into. And you can see how it evolved into a partnership, into a registered business, and even into a merged organization that became the bank that it is today. And recently they faced issues, and this is very curious for me because it just tells you that, again, stay adaptable, stay accountable to your stakeholders, because no matter the crisis you go through, you can navigate it as a business, whether you're young or you're old. So they recently were fined for about £42 million. They've also had issues with tax recently when their systems were down. And it's just so many issues where you think they have the community, they have the board members, they have the experience, but there's still quite a lot of things, crises that they have to navigate on a day-to-day basis. And so 2024, 2025, they've had fines, they've had criminal allegations thrown at them, and the bank is doing its best to stay afloat. Again, crisis can be a catapult. Crisis is something to be managed and not something to be avoided. We hope that the more structure we put in governance, the less these things occur and the easier it is to catch. But it just goes to show that you can have a good board setup, you can have all your committees functioning, you can be the big giants, and you can still have things come up where your staff are creating, problems that might look criminal and impact your business. And so if you're a new business, if you're an ongoing business, just remember the principles of governance always stand the test of time. Having policies to navigate very tricky situations would save your business, and your ability to innovate and pivot in a business climate will always work for you. Also avoiding large fines. So just be a compliant business. Anyway, till next time, I'm Ibuko Oshoba, and this has been a little bit of a dive into Barclays Bank. See you next time.